Hi, and welcome back to My YA Book Nook, a podcast dedicated to connecting with YA readers and fulfilling its mission, growing YA book loves. Thanks for taking the time to listen to the second episode. As promised, I've talked a lot about unique episodes and fun series on this podcast, and I'm here to deliver on that. I've introduced the topic of author spotlight episodes, and today I'm going to do one on Jennifer Yen. But first, what is an author spotlight episode? This is an idea I thought of where I choose an author and dedicate one episode to going over their best books and talking a little bit about them. This is a series I want to continue with many different authors, and I hope it can shine some light on authors and books that may not be as well known. So, as I said, today I'm putting the spotlight on Jennifer Yen. I love her books, and I think she is such an underrated author. She writes a lot of YA romance and contemporary, and I'm a big fan of her romance books, so that's what I'm going to be focusing on today, specifically her book, A Taste for Love. First, here's a little bit about Jennifer Yen, and I'll be paraphrasing the information that I found on her website. She began her writing journey in the 4th grade thanks to the encouragement of a teacher. She's very talented, writing all sorts of genres, from fan fiction to poetry. She currently lives in Texas with her rescue dog, believing in imagination and hoping her stories will bring joy and inspiration to others, which they definitely do. In her own words, Jennifer Yen also talks about A Taste for Love on her website. A Taste for Love is Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice meets The Great British Bake Off, with an all-Asian leading cast. It's stuffed with delicious food, witty banter, and of course, a swoon-worthy romance. It follows high school senior Lisa as she foils her tiger mom's matchmaking schemes, fights to step out of perfect sister Jenny's shadow, and pursues her dream of a baking career. Just don't be surprised if you end up with a boba tea addiction by the end. This is such a great book. I read it when I was just getting into YA and romance, and I've read it countless times ever since. For the summary, high school senior Lisa Yang is viewed in 2 different ways. By her friends, she's near perfect, smart, pretty, and doesn't shy away from a challenge. But to her mom, she's stubborn and rebellious, especially in comparison to her older sister Jenny. On top of that, Lisa is determined to ignore her mother, Mrs. Yang's traditional values, especially in terms of dating. However, this strained relationship between the two has one peacemaker, their love for bacon. Their family owns a popular Houston bakery, Yin and Yang Bakery. To prove to her mother that she's omitting her rebellious personality, Lisa agrees to help with the bakery's annual junior competition. But when Lisa arrives on the first day, she notices that all the boys are Asian Americans, carefully handpicked by her mother as options to date. This situation escalates when Lisa finds herself falling for one of the contestants, James Wong. As she fights against her feelings and for her mother's approval, Lisa learns there isn't one perfect recipe for love. This was Jennifer Yen's debut novel, and I think she did a fantastic job, especially for her first book. For some of my own thoughts, I loved that this book revolved around the love for baking and food and how it served as something that Lisa and her mom could connect on, how baking was something that could bring them together. There's a lot of baked goods and food featured in this book, such as jelly cakes, egg waffles, matcha cookies, bao, and of course, boba. It is basically her comfort food, and I love when authors describe food in their books. Jennifer Yen does an amazing job of this, and right after reading this book, I really wanted a place to visit like Yin and Yang Bakery. It completely delivers on everything it's described as. It's a lot more than a romance. It covers a lot of other themes, such as coming of age, finding yourself, relationships, family, and much more. It's also really funny with the whole idea of turning a baking show into dating for Lisa. I think it's a really unique plot, something you won't read anywhere else. It also has a few twists and turns. I don't want to spoil it, but I'll just say that it's not exactly what you would expect. Some romances are honestly a waste of time, but this incorporates so many different things, and it really enhances the book to make it more than just a romance. I mean, people I know who hate romance easily love this book. Not at all taking away from the actual romance in this book, though. It's really, really cute. She did a great job. One of my favorite book tropes is enemies to lovers. I wouldn't say they're enemies at first, but they definitely don't like each other. So it's cute to see how they get closer. I really loved the characters in this book. I think they're really likable, which is important, and they work perfectly with the plot of the story. So let's do a quick character analysis. Starting off with our main character, Lisa Yang, she is one of my favorite book characters of all time. She loves old romance books, specifically the author Jane Austen, hanging out with her friend Grace, drinking boba, and of course, baking. She used to love baking with her mom, but after losing the interest for a while, she starts to rekindle it and becomes interested in the bakery's annual baking competition. I love her attitude because she knows her worth and she doesn't waste time on people who don't value her. She's the opposite of what her mother expects her to be, especially in terms of dating. Her mom has so many rules and she goes against all of them, like dating non-Asians and people who might not be on the path to a stable career. Despite being compared to her older sister Jenny, they actually have a very nice relationship, which I thought was kind of surprising. I thought there would be more rivalry since they're compared so much, but they have a really loving relationship. And for our supporting character, which is James Wong, I think was very well developed as a love interest. They actually do meet before the cooking competition because Grace, who is Lisa's best friend, likes James's cousin, so they're forced to hang out every once in a while. He's very brooding and unbothered at the beginning, just acting like he doesn't care, but his personality really comes out more as the book progresses. To sum it all up, I think you'll love this book if you like romance, Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice, food, The Great British Bake Off. I think one of the most skillful parts of this book is that it appeals to so many different people because of the different themes and the different parts just incorporated in this book. And that was my very first Author Spotlight episode on Jennifer Yen. I hope to do many more of these episodes to bring some more awareness towards authors and their books, and I hope that you enjoyed it. In the comments, feel free to tell me which authors you would like me to do a Spotlight episode on next. If you like this podcast, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube and follow me on Spotify and Instagram. Tell others about this podcast so we can grow book love together. Thanks for being here today, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.